you struggle with soloing, overthinking it, not knowing what to play, not knowing how to sound musical, stick around because we're going to cover all that in today's lesson. I had a student come over last week and he knew one shape, every guitar player's favorite shape on the guitar. It was the pentatonic A minor scale, and he was thumbing through it, slow, sloppy, but he knew it. And he was asking me, well, okay, I know this one scale, but how do I make music from it? And how do I figure out my way up and down the neck? And it got me thinking, this is a common thing among students. Do you guys ever have this where you're just like, how do I make music from this one scale? And how do I figure out my way up and down the neck from this scale? Let me know in the comments. So I'm going to walk you through the basics of what's going on in the pentatonic scale. I'm going to give you the 5 shapes. I'm going to give you some levels too. Here's the thing. I'm going to go from very, very simple beginner level all the way up to amazing advanced tour level ready kind of guitar playing. And I want you to stick around also to the end because I'm going to show you a little bit more even beyond the amazing on how you can apply everything and how to take everything to the next level. So here are some basics about the pentatonic scale. So the pentatonic is just 5 notes, penta meaning 5. And it really comes from the major scale, and we're just taking the major scale, which has 7 notes, and subtracting 2. That's how we get the pentatonic scale. Sounds kind of mathy, but really it sounds amazing once you piece it all together. So we're going to start with the first shape, everybody's favorite shape. This is what you learn in like Guitar Center, or your first guitar teacher will show you this shape. And here's how it sounds. Now before I keep going, I'm going to tell you exactly why I'm using the fingers I do. This is a huge little nugget, and this could be a whole little series in itself. However, really I'm just using 2 fingers. I'm using my first finger and my ring finger. And this is going to be the case up and down the neck. I'm just using these 2 fingers. The reason I'm doing that is if I use my pinky, it's not strong enough to bend. It'll sound weak, like... If I have this finger, it's a stronger digit, and I'm able to do bends. And we haven't gotten there, but that's the thinking behind why I'm just using my first and third finger. All right, so everyone's probably familiar with that shape. If you're not, go back, learn this, rewind it, sink that into your bones, and then you can keep moving on. So this is the thing where a lot of beginners fall off and they kind of get lost on these next couple shapes. And so let's fill in those gaps. So now we're going into uncharted territory for some people, and now I'm gonna walk you through a little bit of the numbers and the frets and exactly where your hand should be. So I'm on the D string. D is the 3rd thickest string. And I'm going up here to the 7th fret. And we're going to play the same notes in the scale. It's just in a different position. So it's going to sound very similar. This is how it goes. Now I remember when I was a beginner, some of these stretches are really, really hard. Like you want to use your pinky because I don't have very big hands, and so I would say, oh, I don't have big hands, so now I can't stretch. I got to use my pinky, right? I would really, really advise not using your pinky for the reasons I was saying before. You're kind of shooting yourself in the foot in the long run because you're not going to be able to do these bends. That is our second shape. We're going to keep moving, and now we're going to the third shape. This is a really, really fun one. It sounds pretty incredible once you piece it all together. Let's slow it down, figure out exactly what's happening. So I'm on the A string, which is the second thickest string, and I'm all the way up here on the 12th fret. So that's the first note. Now, let's play the scale. Now, if this is the first time you've ever played this scale, go back, rewind, rewatch this, and play it real nice and slow. Make sure everything is clean. That's really the most important thing, is that things are slow and precise rather than fast and sloppy. We're coming up to our fourth scale, and it's actually same notes as before. If you are a beginner or intermediate guitar player, you may have encountered this shape before. So I am going on the A string, or the second thickest string, and I'm going up to the 12th fret, and I'm using my first finger, and I'm starting right here on the A string and walking my way up. Now here's our final shape. We're going to use our ring finger all the way up here on the 17th fret. If you're having trouble counting, these normally your guitar will have two little dots indicating the 12th fret. You can count all the way up from there. And I'm on the low E string, so the thickest string. And I'm going to use my ring finger at the starting point. So here's how it sounds. And we could keep going. However, we'll figure out that this is just the starting point, the first shape. Now, if you want a way to practice all of this, I'm going to tell you right here. So you're going to start at about 80 beats per minute. You're going to have a metronome set up, and you can download a metronome for free on your phone and just practice everything nice and slow. And you're going to connect all these scales together. So it'll sound something like this. So those are the 5 shapes. I did say 80 beats per minute, but if that's too fast, too slow for you, do what feels comfortable and make sure everything is slow, clean, and precise. because that's really how you're going to see the most growth from your practice regimen. So we're going to launch into taking these pentatonic ideas from simple all the way to amazing and beyond. And I'm going to be playing over a track that I created. If you're interested how to make guitar loops or how any of that stuff works, I'm going to have a little description link where you can go check it out, download it, and have fun with it. So here is lick number 1, simple. No bends, no slides, one position. So I'm going to break down exactly what is happening with this lick. So it comes from the first shape I showed you. And if you can't remember it, go back, rewind. But here's a little refresher. It comes from this place. Now, this lick we're taking and we're using these notes from the scale, the pentatonic scale, but we're making music from it. We're learning how to solo. And so we're going to just take a few notes and really pick and choose what we want to do. And we're starting on this note right here, 8th fret B string, and we're just walking down the scale. A lot of the fun in this lick comes from the rhythm. So I'm going to play it real slow for you, and then I'm going to show you exactly how you can make it a little better by adding a detail. Now, if you're a beginner, don't just end your phrases on the note like this. End your phrase like this and then wiggle your finger. It's called a vibrato and adds a nice, like, beautiful texture to your playing. So this is a fun little lick because we're incorporating 2 different shapes. So we start off in this shape, in this little section of the guitar, we move down to here, and then we go back. So it's like shape number 2 to shape number 1, back to shape number 2. So this is shape number 2. Take this note, slide down to shape 1, and then we slide back to shape 2. So let's play this lick real slow so you can get it under your fingers. Pluck this note and hammer on. Pull off. Slide. Slide. Slide again. So it sounds like this. Remember that vibrato at the end. So if you have your guitar, which you should, pick it up, try it out. You should be following along. Try to get these licks and riffs under your fingers because this is really going to pay off in the long run. And I really want you to try, if you feel like you got, the beginner lick down, but now you're struggling with this one, really push yourself and try to get this one, and maybe in a day or two, come back, get lick number 3, and you're going to keep climbing up this mountain, and hopefully in no time you'll be able to get all the way to amazing and beyond. All right, so let's break down what exactly is happening right here. Well, I'm starting off in position 1 and going all the way through position 2, position 3. I'm using bends, I'm using some slides, and this is now where if we're getting a little more advanced here. And if you're unsure of how to bend, I have a short video about it, so be sure to check that out. Just type in Soulful Guitar Lessons Bends into YouTube. So I'm starting off with my first finger on the D string, 5th fret. This is the first position. So I am plucking, hammering on, new string, pluck, hammer on, slide, new string, pluck, hammer on, slide, pluck. One more time. Now this bend is why we practice our scales with our ring and first finger. To do this, I'm bending with my ring finger reinforced by my middle finger. My ring finger is on the 13th fret and my middle finger is right behind it. It's not actually playing a note, but it's on the 12th fret right behind it, just to help carry that note up to where it needs to be. Another thing, little detail, is that my fingers are not vertical. They're tilted like this. So notice when I'm bending, my fingers are not like this, they're like this. And always give it that little wiggle, that vibrato at the end. So let's play that lick slow, clean, and precise. We have double stops, we have bends, we have slides, and that's why this is level 4. So if you have gotten through level 3 and you feel like this is a little too hard, I would challenge you to keep going. Try this out. We're going to break it down and make it very, very slow and easy for you to digest. And remember that there's a lot of value in just pushing yourself beyond where you're comfortable, because that's where a lot of growth happens. So we start off again in the first position. We use double stops. Double stops is just a fancy way of saying 2 notes at once. So I am playing these 2 notes, the A and the D string, and then I'm just playing that with my first finger. And then I am playing the next little double stop with my ring and pinky finger respectively. Let's play these double stops nice and slow and clean. So right here, I am playing the D string, 10th fret, G string, 9th fret, and now I am playing my B string, 8th fret, and I'm using my pinky. This is the one time I'm going to tell you to use your pinky because I ran out of fingers. And now we're on the top set of strings. We are going to slide from the 8 to the 10 and back on the high B and E string. Now we go over to this position, our 3rd position, and we bend on the G string, 12th fret, up and down, bending just like in level 3, how I taught you. Here's the lick nice and slow. So we are at the summit. We are at the amazing level. How are you feeling? How far have you made it? Let me know in the comments. If you have just jumped right away to this level 5, to the summit, and you're feeling like, wow, this is too hard, go back, rewind, maybe take it from 1, 2, or 3. And as you feel more confident in your playing and in getting these licks under your fingers, you're going to be here at the summit with me in no time. Okay, so this lick has double stops, it has slides, it has bends, it has multiple positions, and it even has this crazy big bend that you're not going to find at other levels. So let's play this lick nice and slow, break down what's happening, and let's have some fun with it too. So I'm starting off with these double stops that are happening on the high B and E string. We're in position 2, and I'm using my first finger to just slide on the 10, or using my first finger to slide on the 8 up to the 10 and back to the 8. So it sounds like this. So I'm just using one strum, sliding and sliding back down. The same principle applies for this next little movement. I'm using my first finger on the 7th fret G string and my middle finger 8th fret on the B string, and I'm just playing one pluck, sliding and sliding back. And now here's where a lot of fun happens. There's this like flashy part of the lick where things get fast, and what I'm doing is I'm in position 3 and I'm starting my first finger on the A string 10th fret, and I'm just walking up the scale, and it sounds like this, very slow. Literally just walking up the scale. And then the next little part is what makes this lick super hard. That's why we are at the summit, is we are taking our ring finger and we're going to the 15th fret B string, and we are bending, not a whole step, but we're bending up to this note, which is 15, 17, 19, the 20th fret. The 20th fret of the B string, that's the note we're trying to hit. And it sounds like this. You might pop a string if you do this with old strings. It sounds like this, guys. Ugh, that's a workout right there. You might have to tune your guitar after that. And we bend all the way up there. We come back down. Make sure you don't let other strings ring when you're doing that. And the way I get that clean sound is I'm using my right hand. I'm using the meat of my palm, and I'm muting all the other strings. Remember that vibrato, and we're ending our phrase right there on the 13th fret B string. So let's play this lick nice, slow, clean, and controlled. One more time. And there you have it. You've reached the summit, level 5. So how are you feeling? We just hiked up a mountain. You should be sore, you know? So just to recap, we covered the basics of exactly what a pentatonic scale is. We went through the 5 shapes, and then we went through the 5 different levels you can have taking your pentatonic scales and turning them into actual music so that you can solo. Now, if you have any questions or you feel like some of these licks are a little too hard or, they're challenging, just go back, review, take your time, rewatch the video, and enjoy the process of this learning. Now, I promised you that we would take this thing a little further and beyond amazing. So if you are curious what else is out there, this is actually just scratching the surface. I've created a course that will help you not only learn all these shapes, but give you musical examples that will help take your soloing and make it sound less like scales and more like music. I'm going to walk you through everything, and there's going to be a PDF as well. So if you're curious about that, the description link is below. Thank you so much for watching Soulful Guitar Lessons. I will see you next week.